everybody, welcome back to the Roto 22 challenge. So we're working on rotation for 22 days together. This morning we're going to get into the third layer or level of progression, and what that is going to 3 sets. So we're still going unloaded and loaded. If you got a handy band, handy dandy bandy, you can hang on to that and we'll work on it in just a second. If you didn't get to do our sensory and kind of neural warm-up, full body stimulation, getting some receptors awake, working a little bit on the cranial system and then the rest of the body, we will link again to our full neural warm-up. It's about a 7-minute video, but we'll get you primed and ready to move. So that would be step 1. Going into rotations, if you're already feeling warmed up, just dive into it. But if you want a good warm-up, please reference that, and then you could jump into your rotations for the day. These unloaded rotations are actually part of a good neural warm-up. So we're gonna just pivot on the foot and turn the hips, knees side to side, almost this little spiraling action coming from the ground up. So I want you to do 22 total, and that's 11 to the right, 11 to the left, to give us that 22 for challenges that last 22 days, challenges that start on the 22nd of the month, and challenges that start in 2022 as well. So I think I'm at 22. Those just in general feel good. So if you do more than 22, awesome. And then we're gonna go ahead, get our band, if you have one. If not, you can continue the unloaded version, or you can imagine a band and working into resistance, just using the tension within your own body, and that will work as well. You can actually build a lot of strength that way. You don't always need external loading to create tension, or you shouldn't. You should have the capacity to do a lot of body tensioning without load, as well as, of course, body tensioning when it's appropriate and you do have that external loading. So what I got is band underneath the arch of the foot. I'm gonna stomp down on that, make sure it's anchored well and does not come up. So from there, we're getting into a little knee bend, slightly wider than shoulder width apart with the feet, a little bit of a tuck in the butt, or tuck in the tailbone, if you will. And we're gonna drive up and away. So 11 reps going from right to left or left to right. If you're mirroring and breathing through those, good job, guys. Here we go. Reaching, getting long and tall at the top, bringing the band down on the diagonal back towards that foot. I think we're at about 11. You can count your reps. I'm responsible for counting mine and maybe not doing a perfect job. Hey, that's all right. We're going 11 the other way, so again, make sure you're anchored. We keep that pelvic tuck, tuck the bottom, and go. Remember to breathe, keeping a tall posture, long spine throughout these rotations. We're getting a nice bit of shoulder work on these too. As we're attached under the foot, we're going up in sort of a diagonal lift motion for those shoulders all the way down. You should be feeling that in the abs and especially the hip, where the band is anchored under that foot. You're driving off that hip. All right, we're gonna go back to unloaded. So 22 again, and 11 to each side. Remember to, again, stay tall. If you find that looking towards the direction that you're going is helpful, you can keep that going as well. Add the eyes into the mix. We're getting some really nice stimulus for the inner ear with these. So the head turns, we're taking that right-left head turn into some stimulus for our right and then our left horizontal canal, which, don't worry about the neuroanatomy, it's just an important part of the brain to keep healthy because it ties into our autonomic systems like heart rate, blood pressure, and when we have a healthy vestibular system, we're also finding a lot more research is coming out recently that we improve cognition. We have some cognitive connections to the inner ear. So if hearing goes, balance goes, inner ear function goes, oftentimes we'll see cognitive function go along with that, and you can retrain that. So the good news, to give you some hope, is that if you work on this stuff consistently, you may see improvements in all of those areas. So wide base, little tuck in the bottom again, and here we go. Round 2, get after it. Here we go. Big reach up. And we're going 11 this way again. And then we'll knock this other side out in just a second. You may find exhaling into that lift, up and across, into that rotation is helpful. And then, of course, get a deep breath in again on the return to start position. Here we go. You got this, guys. Keep going. And we're going 11 again. Another progression you may play around with through the challenge here is going from, if you have a fairly light band, like this one's challenging me today, but if you have a light band and you wanted to work up to a slightly heavier band, that can work. Next week, we're also going to get into some rotational action for the hips and for the shoulders. So stick with me here. We're going to do kind of global, full body. Keep incorporating that next week, but we're going to layer in some hip and shoulder action. Let's go back to our unloaded last round of rotations today, you guys. Way to get after it. Remember to breathe. These unloaded ones now are kind of like a recovery set, active recovery. So we want to recover the breath, let the heart rate slow down a little bit, feel those hips, low back, get some nice smooth rotational action. Maybe you look again towards the direction you're going. Feel that low back loosen up. Again, I know we're talking 3 rounds of 22 reps today, but on these unloaded ones, they just feel good and you want to keep going. Awesome. There's not really a wrong number if it feels good. So we have a minimum effective dose concept what we work with in our training, and so people may do great with 10 of those. Somebody else might need 50 of those to really start to get all the benefits out of it. So doing movement that feels good is important because you're actually teaching and training your brain that movement feels good, right? Kind of a duh, but also really important, because if we want you to move more, we want you to have fun and feel good doing it. So let's get back into our last set loaded. We're tucking the bottom again, knees are slightly bent, and here we go. And on this one, we can also add in a little more inner ear activation. If you wanted to slow down your diagonal lift, rotational going across, you can actually look at your thumb on one of the fingers. So hands are holding together on that band, and then as I go, keeping the tailbone tucked and I'm breathing, I'm gonna watch a thumb or finger as it goes up on that diagonal. This is awesome for part of the inner ear connection, the back and bottom of the brain, called the cerebellum. Cerebellum controls our accuracy, our balance, and our coordination of movement. It actually helps us prevent unwanted movement. So if I want to touch my nose but not my ear, my cerebellum is going to fine-tune that and make sure that I'm not touching another part of my face with my finger when I bring my hand in, but I actually touch my nose. So for a lot of right-handers, I'm going to give you a little bonus today. Right-handers often do well with left cerebellum activation. Kind of talking in broad strokes, so this isn't everybody every single time. Some people fall out of the typical box or pattern that we see, but for me and a lot of right-handers, we'll do great with an up and left. So I'm just going to do 5 more bonus reps going up and left, and I'm going to watch that thumb again, just knowing that this is a really good stimulus for my left cerebellum because I've tested it. So you would want to test and retest, maybe get with a coach to do that, but I know that's a strong neural inner ear stimulus that creates positive global effects, body-wide effects in other areas. So just a quick bonus tip, If you're a righty, you might want to test something like a shoulder range of motion, neck, forward bend, something like that, and then retest after you go up and left. See if you get a positive response. If your walking in general feels better too, that would be another really positive thing from a neurologic standpoint. So that's what I got for you today. Again, coming up next week, we got shoulders, hips getting involved. We're going to keep going with what we've worked on to layer that into week 1 and keep going strong. 22 days is not a long time, but you'll prove to yourself if you stick with it throughout that 22 days that you can create some daily movement, can create a positive habit change. And I'm looking forward to finishing up the next week and a half or so, a couple weeks with you. We'll get through the 22 days and knock it out together. Looking forward to jumping into the 22-day squat challenge next month too. So just know every month we're going to roll these out in sequence throughout 2022. So you can invite a buddy, like, hey, they're doing this thing at Strong Tower. Whether you train with us or not, you can do it all online from the comfort of your own home if you prefer, or if you're traveling, good options there as well. So remember to subscribe. Again, invite a friend if you're doing the challenge with us. Smash that like button. You're getting stronger, so you should be able to smash it. Just don't break your laptop or device. And I'll see you next week. We'll keep this going and keep making these your healthiest years yet.